What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz. I'm here for an NXT review for February 27, 2018. In the gaming community, it's Pokemon Day, and for everyone else, it's another episode of NXT. Tonight is the next to last set of tapings before we get to NXT TakeOver New York. We are officially on the main road to NXT TakeOver New York, as title matches and other matches going into NXT TakeOver New York will be happening starting tonight. They start building towards what we are going to see at NXT TakeOver New York. As we know, next week starts the next tournament of Dusty Road Tag Team Classic. There will be 8 teams. 4 of them we learned last week. The other 4 we will learn this week. We also had in the main event Shayna Baszler versus MIA Yim in a non-title match. This stems from what happened last week when the Four Horsewomen. The three Four Horsewomen who are in NXT, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, and Shayna Baszler, came out and beat the living piss out of Miss the HBIC, as she calls herself, MIA Yim. We also had Dominic Dijakovic versus Keith Lee. The WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Sasha Banks and Bayley made their return to NXT as the Tag Team Champions, which is great, and we'll go over that in a rumor match. That is a match that's rumored for WrestleMania for those women. Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah also took on Tainara Conti and Xia Li. And I believe the only thing else we had to talk about is the fact that Johnny Gargano started off the show. As we all know, Johnny Gargano lost the NXT North American Championship to one Velveteen Dream last week. So that is NXT for you, and we'll get on to that as of right now. Gargano comes to the ring, and he says it's been a pretty interesting past couple of weeks. He says, as one of the newest members of Raw and SmackDown, he's been able to show the WWE Universe what NXT is all about. Gargano comments about his title match against Velveteen Dream, and how he said after TakeOver Phoenix, he introduced everyone to Johnny Champion. But in his first test, he lost the title. Crowd with a Johnny Failure chant, which, of course, that's awesome to hear. That's just like, that's something that Velveteen Dream started, and the fact that WWE Universe, the NXT Universe, is letting Johnny know, listen, you were the champion, but you were a total failure because you had it for one title, you had it for a very short reign, and you lost it already. He says he failed himself and all the fans and prefers the Johnny Champion chant. Gargano says he still feels like a champion, but doesn't have a championship. He goes on to say he realized the only reason he has any success around here, and Tommaso Ciampa comes out. From the stage, Gargano says they both know Gargano is at his best when he's next to Ciampa. They proved it already on the main roster. Whenever they're in the ring together, they win, except for last week. Ciampa says he offered to help, but Gargano wanted to go at it alone and lost. Ciampa says while he's standing here with a title, Gargano is without one, but that doesn't have to be since the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic has returned. Ciampa says the winner gets a title opportunity at TakeOver New York. The big stage, the bright lights, if they team up, they will be champions. Ciampa holds his hand out and Gargano shakes it. Ciampa smiles and heads back up the ramp. So, for the time being, in NXT, and I think they were going this way anyway, with the announcement last week of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which, of course, I figured was coming back, as the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic was a staple for NXT TakeOver NXT TakeOver New Orleans last year. Hopefully that means that this is going to be a recurring thing every single year, and that the Dusty Rhodes, that's something we can look forward to in March going into April every single year. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, with the winners going to that takeover, which if WrestleMania 36 is going to be in Tampa, this year is NXT TakeOver New York, next year will be NXT TakeOver Tampa, which will be great, and there you go. Every single year now, hopefully we can be looking forward to the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic going into the takeover before WrestleMania. Just gives this entire month and a half or 2 months between WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania something more to look forward to. Definitely awesome. So DIY is returning for now. Do I see them winning the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic? No. Just going to tell you that right now, I don't see it happening. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is going to be won by somebody else, but this is going to set up whatever leads to these two going for the clashing at NXT TakeOver New York. Maybe in the semifinals or the finals, Ciampa drops down and Gargano gets beaten in a 2-on-1 attack, and then afterwards they fight. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. This tournament starts next week, but DIY for now is back on the same page. Backstage, Kathy Kelly talks with Ricochet about him having unfinished business with the Undisputed Era despite making noise on the main roster. Ricochet says he understands to fight one member of the group. He's fighting all four, but that's okay with that. That with Aleister Black having his back, he knows Undisputed Era is in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, so he's off to tell William Regal he and Black won in the tournament. So, of the two teams that we know so far, it looks like we have DIY and Aleister Black with Ricochet as well in this tournament. Outside, Gargano follows Ciampa. They bump into Candice LeRae, who isn't pleased. Yeah, again, huh? Gargano says to trust him, but she isn't too happy and heads off. So, I just feel the seeds planted that this is not going to end well for Tommaso Ciampa by the time this tournament's over. Vanessa Bourne, Aaliyah versus Tanaya Conti, and Xia Li. Not much happened here. Aaliyah's tagged in towards the middle end of this match to, of course, the boos. They hit a double suplex with Aaliyah with a bridge for a 2 count. Straight jacket submission on Conti. Crowd some back and forth chants for Aaliyah. Conti finally is able to get away and tags in Lee. Super kick to the face with a flurry of kicks, but pin 2 count. Lee gets sent to the corner. She leaps off the second rope. Bourne gets in a blind tag, though, takes down Lee and Conti. Aaliyah with a running blockbuster, yanking Lee over Bourne's knee, covers for the 3 count. Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah win. Now, I kind of figured Xia Li was going to start being used a lot more because she was in the Royal Rumble, and you don't want to just have someone in the Royal Rumble without using them. I'm surprised Casey Catanzaro hasn't been used at all on NXT TV whatsoever. By the way, NXT UK made a couple of signings this past week, so when we get to Unscripted this week, we will have some NXT UK news and my thoughts on those who have been signed. Early in the day, the Velveteen Dream enters the building. He goes to ask a question, and the Undisputed Era rolls up on him. Adam Cole says he'll be the new North American champion soon enough. Cole also says the interviewer should be talking to Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, who will be the next tag team champions. Dream lets them know, I don't have time for you boys, and walks off. Why? And I know Adam Cole said that the Undisputed Era will all be draping in gold by the time the end of the year, the end of 2019. The 2019 ends and we roll into 2020. Why is he still wanting to go for the North American Championship? I kind of figured Adam Cole would start wanting to go for the NXT Championship. Now, I know that, without even seeing any spoilers or anything, I know the NXT Championship is going to be decided between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. This has been written for over a year. The fact that those two are going to end NXT TakeOver New York and the main event for the NXT Championship with Johnny Gargano coming out on top. When I have a feeling after that, Johnny Gargano is going to hold the title, but he's only going to hold the championship until the takeover between New York and Toronto, because there's usually a takeover in between there. Adam Cole, if that's where they want to go, Adam Cole should be the next, it should be, which would kind of suck, the fact that Gargano wins the championship and in his first defense again ends up losing it, but that's probably what they're going to do. Ricochet had confirmed, I believe, a couple days ago, or on Monday Night Raw, or SmackDown Live in a post, whatever, that he, Tommaso Ciampa, Black, and Gargano are all on the main roster until after WrestleMania, which to me sounds like at least Aleister Black is up completely. Aleister Black just had a goodbye tour with NXT's touring brand. He's not doing NXT down there anymore for touring. He did a goodbye. I don't think Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano have yet, but I'm pretty sure Gargano is either he'll win the title at Brooklyn, and then he's probably going to lose it at the whatever one there is for Money in the Bank, or at Toronto too. I think Toronto too should be good, but we'll have to wait and see. Backstage, Kathy Kelly says she's waiting for Regal to finalize the teams for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. She hears a bunch of yelling from the distance off the camera, and they roll up on Bianca Belair and Io Shirai arguing with each other. They eventually get separated. So Bianca Belair is being more of the bitch heel that she should be. As I felt, and so did everyone else, Bianca Belair at NXT TakeOver Phoenix just felt off. She didn't feel like Bianca Belair that she should. She felt like she wasn't in the role she should be playing. That kind of hindered the match that she had with Shayna Baszler. That match would have been a lot better, in my opinion, if it was heel Bianca Belair versus a babyface woman. Not, of course, Shayna Baszler, but like, say she was going up against Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Candice LeRae, Nikki Cross. Those two had some great battles because Bianca Belair got to play the heel that she should be. Bianca Belair is a natural heel. There are people in the wrestling business that are naturally better as a heel or a babyface. Some can play both. And I think Bianca Belair could be a babyface if she wasn't just shoehorned into that position because she was going up against a Shayna Baszler, who is the best heel in the women's division on all brands. Just saying. Charlotte might be just becoming back to being a good heel on the main roster, but nobody is touching Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler is the most real character in the entire WWE. You look at Shayna Baszler. I mean, Tommaso Ciampa does his work well, but you have Shayna Baszler, who you look at her and you could say, yeah, that's how she is in real life. You look at somebody like it's like some of these heels on WWE TV, and you just don't buy them. You just can't buy what they are. Tommaso Ciampa he's one of those guys as well who's taken the heel role seriously. A heel should be somebody that you don't want to go have, like, you can, like, boo in the arena and then be like, yeah, let's go have a beer. Now, you should want to look at this person and be disgusted to see them in any way, shape, or form. Shayna Baszler could sit there and you go up to her and ask for an autograph and she'll want to break your arm. You look at her the wrong way and she'll break your arm. She has that kind of look, and that's great. She plays that role well. Bianca Belair plays a different type of heel, but she was a great heel. And then when they shoehorned her into playing, going up against Shayna Baszler, which I'm not saying she didn't deserve to be in a women's championship match. It's just, I wish they could have held it off, had Shayna Baszler lose the championship to a babyface like Kairi Sane again. If it would have been Kairi Sane being the women's champion going into Phoenix against a heel Bianca Belair, that probably would have been a damn good match. It's just, it did not work well for her. So Bianca Belair and Io Shirai will go off one-on-one, I believe, next week. The winner will go up against Shayna Baszler at NXT TakeOver New York. So we have our first match potentially for TakeOver Brooklyn next week. Dominic Dijakovic versus Keith Lee. Dijakovic, which I just wish he was died. That's an interesting name, and it's one that I'm going to screw up so many times. He immediately gets Lee into a side headlock, but Lee powers out. They meet in the middle of the ring, but neither move much. Multiple counters on both men. Crowd claps for both men on them. Lee looks for a handshake. Dijakovic with a shove. Lee pops up Dijakovic with ease. Dijakovic with a monkey flip, and Lee lands on his feet. Big chop to Lee brings him off his feet for a moment. Big shot to the back of it and then into the face. Lee finally fires back but falls down, gets back up and lands a big elbow, not once but twice. Lee with a pounce, sending Dijakovic feet off his feet. Dijakovic recovers, punches, kicks, and he's able to plant Lee to the mat, cover for a 2 count. Dijakovic heads to the second rope, leaps double chops to his chest. Lee lifts and spikes Dijakovic for a pin for the 2 count. Crowd is really liking this match. Dijakovic with more strikes, lands a running kick that sends Lee out to the floor. Dijakovic on the apron leaps for an Asai moonsault and takes out Lee. They both land hard on the apron or slow to get up. Referee starts up his 10 count, and neither can get back in the ring. We have a double count out. Crowd wants to keep them to keep going. Starts a "We Want Regal" chant. Unfortunately, no William Regal. Double count outs. Both of these guys can do great things in matches. Keith Lee and Dijakovic both do things that guys at their sizes should not be able to do. So, could we see them in a better match? But yes, I think this is going to lead to a no disqualification match. It's probably going to lead to a no count out match, which I hate this kind of booking if this is the way it goes. We have a match that ends in a double countout. Okay, let's do a no countout match that can end by DQ. And then somehow, someway, one of them gets DQ'd, or they have a double DQ. Okay, then we have to do a no disqualification match. Just go from a double countout to a no DQ match, because there's no countouts. Just do that. Don't have that second step. That's usually what we see. I'm glad we didn't have Regal come out and be like, you know what? Restart the match, no countouts. Okay, something happens, one gets DQ'd. Okay, make it a no disqualification match. That would have been just too nauseating. Post-match, they want to keep going at it, but referees are out to separate the two. Dijakovic tells Lee, I'll see you later. Ricochet, Black, Aleister Black, DIY, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch and Mustache Mountain will join the Undisputed Era Forgotten Sons, Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthol, and the Street Profits. First round matches are the Mustache Mountain versus the Street Profits, Lorcan and Burch versus the Forgotten Sons, DIY versus the Undisputed Era, Black and Ricochet versus Aichner and Barthel. Why is DIY and Undisputed Era a first round match? That seems like a match finals or semifinals at least. Really? DIY and Undisputed Era already? I mean, yeah, the story coming into this whole thing is Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the Undisputed Era. Why would you have DIY versus Undisputed Era in the first round? I would have the Forgotten Sons versus the Undisputed Era, or Lorcan and Burch versus the Undisputed Era. We do that rivalry with, of course, the Undisputed Era coming out on top. As the Undisputed Era is not beating DIY. If it's a first round exit for the Undisputed Era, that's it. I don't know where this is leading with the Undisputed Era, but they've been racking up a lot of losses. And you had Adam Cole explain that these guys are going to win all the gold, and so far they've lost like every match. They lost every match this year. Since the start of 2019, the Undisputed Era have not won a match, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know if it's going to be like somebody's going to get kicked out of the Undisputed Era. I'm not sure, but that's a lot of losses. So, I'm going to make a couple first round predictions here. Mustache Mountain will probably lose to the Street Profits. They've been building the Street Profits up pretty high. Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch will probably lose to the Forgotten Sons. WWE NXT is trying to push the Forgotten Sons. DIY is beating Undisputed Era. And Black and Ricochet are going to be beating Aichner and Marcel. So my final four are going to be the Street Profits, the team of the Forgotten Sons, DIY, and Black and Ricochet. Those are my final four. I'll give you a prediction next time, like after the next, when we get to the semifinals, I'll give you a prediction who I think will be in the finals. But very interesting. Very interesting. The tournament does begin next week. I expect to see 2 matches on next week's show, 2 matches on the week after that, and then we'll have the semifinals the week after that. Okay, in 2 weeks, my bad, in 2 weeks, I forgot. 2 weeks, William Regal says Io Shirai will face Bianca Belair. The winner takes on Women's Champion Shayna Baszler and NXT TakeOver in New York. I believe they go with that for next week. I have no idea why they don't want to do it next week. The tag team champions of Sasha Banks and Bayley head out to the ring for the big pop. We get a welcome back chant. Banks says it's good to be home, and their journey to become tag team champions began right here in NXT. Bayley says the last time that she and Banks were in NXT ring together was TakeOver Respect, where they main evented in the Iron Woman match, which was a pretty good match. It was the last time we saw Sasha Banks in her bitch ratchety role that everybody loved. Since she came into the main roster, that entire ratchet Sasha Banks has been dead, and I think they need to bring that back. Bayley says they want these titles to be the most sought out. Talked about titles on all of WWE. Banks says they plan on taking the titles from Raw and SmackDown to NXT. Bayley tells the NXT women's locker room to step up, and maybe next time they return to NXT, they'll defend the titles. Okay, one of the things coming into WrestleMania, as we know, is that it's up in the air. It's not confirmed and anything, but a match that's been talked about for WrestleMania has been a fatal 4-way for the women's tag team titles. Bayley and Sasha Banks versus a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and a team from NXT. Now, if that was to happen, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville from SmackDown Ruby Riott and one of the Riot Squad members from Raw, and then the Sky Pirates from NXT of Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. That would be my fatal four-way. So you would have Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Io Shirai and Kairi Sane, Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan or Liv Morgan, and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. There you go. There are your four teams. If they want to do a fatal four-way, that would be awesome, and I think would probably be the best tag team match on the WrestleMania card if they would allow that. Would Bayley and Sasha Banks make it out of WrestleMania the tag team champions? I think so. I don't really want to see Trish and Lita come to WrestleMania and just get a tag team title opportunity because they're Trish and Lita. No. Have women who have been there working their asses off get a title shot. We don't need Trish and Lita. What they did at Evolution was fine and all, but I don't need to see them again wrestle. It's like the time in the sun is over. I know Bayley and Sasha Banks would love to have them versus Trish and Lita at WrestleMania. I don't want to see it, and it's not needed. Give the spotlight to other women. No matter what they do, and this is another reason why you don't want to put Trish and Lita on WrestleMania. No matter what you do in the SmackDown Women's Championship match or the Women's Tag Team Championship match, nothing is going to top what's going on with the Raw Women's Championship. You have what is going to be Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. Nothing you do in the other matches are going to matter. Nothing you do in any of the other matches for the women that you do is going to even be talked about. Yes, that Fatal 4-Way would be amazing. I wouldn't say amazing. A Fatal 4 would be good. To great. It could probably be one of the best things. It could be one of the best matches on the show. But nothing like going into WrestleMania. You could have Io Shirai and Kairi Sane on there in a Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Live for the Women's Championships. But nothing is going to top the triple threat match for Raw Women's Championship. Just nothing. Nothing you do. So, having Trish and Lita on this show would be pointless. You want them to be in one of the matches people are going to talk about. Nobody's going to be talking about that match, no matter who's in it. Just saying. I'm just saying. And then the main event was Mia Yim and Shayna Baszler. This one was interesting just for the simple fact that Shayna Baszler and Mia Yim in real life are roommates and best friends. And as you know, as anyone knows, if anybody actually pays attention, wrestling matches between people who like you're best friends with in real life are some of the best matches. Look at Gargano and Ciampa; those guys are legit best friends outside of wrestling, even though they play it as if they hate each other still or they're indifferent to each other. Outside of WWE, they're like the best of friends. So basically, the reason that is because when you go up against somebody that you can trust 110%, they have your back, you have their back. It makes the matches so much better because you know that they can hit the hits look real, more devastating. The action looks a lot more real because these guys can trust each other enough to, he's gonna kick my head off or she's gonna knee me in the face hard, but I know she's not trying to actually hurt me. It just makes the action a lot better. Baszler with a quick trip on Yim. You must have lost your damn mind. Yim responds. Baszler takes Yim down a couple of times. Yim with a kick and a takedown of her own. Couple swings. Baszler gets away out to the floor. Yim with a suicide dive. She tries to throw Baszler back into the ring. She instantly goes off. She gets kicked in the face and then sent into the steps. Yim stomps Baszler's hand in the steps. She goes for a kick. Baszler moves and she gets kicked. She kicks the steps. Baszler tosses Yim back into the ring. Baszler stomps away on the injured leg, looks for a cover, 2 count. Yim holding her leg as Baszler cranks away on the leg and then foot. Yim tries to kick away. Baszler pins her leg down and kicks down on her foot. Baszler is asking for a ref to call it, but Yim is still going. Baszler locked in the near naked choke, but Yim cranks on the injured hand of Baszler to break the hold. Baszler goes right back to the foot through, though, with an Achilles lock. Yim is able to get to the rope to break the hold. Yim able to hit a tornado DDT. Baszler's in the corner now. Yim looks for a cannonball in the corner, but she can't run. Baszler looks for the knee. Yim dodges it, roll up for a 2 count. Yim with a couple of strikes, knee to the face, eat the feet, lands, cover for a 2 count. Baszler with a gut wrench bomb, cover for a 2. Baszler tried for some kicks. Yim catches one. Yim with a sit down powerbomb, 2 count. Yim looked to finish things off, but Baszler hits a penalty kick. Rear naked choke locked in. Yim tries to break the hold in the same way, but Baszler wraps up her arms with the legs, and Yim is forced to tap out. And that is that with another good match. Winner is Shayna Baszler. No doubt about it, she was going to win that match, especially since the fact that she is your NXT Women's Champion, and unlike the main roster, champions rarely lose non-title matches in NXT. Now, as we know, in 2 weeks, Io Shirai will take on Bianca Belair to see who faces Shayna Baszler. Now, Shayna Baszler was pinned by Io Shirai a couple weeks ago in that 6-woman tag match. Bianca Belair feels like she is still entitled to a title match, or a title rematch, because she came close to beating Shayna Baszler. What I think is going to happen is this match is going to be like coming down to maybe one of them is going to think they're going to win, where the 4 horsewomen are going to come out and they're going to destroy both women, and William Regal is going to make it official. We're going to get a triple threat match between Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship, and that is going to be your women's championship match at TakeOver New York. Now, I've been wanting to see 2 women's matches on TakeOver. We only ever see the women's championship, and every time they have a secondary match on the TakeOver, it's always a men's match. With the women's tag team titles being a thing now, and the fact that Bayley and Sasha Banks said the next time we come back, we might defend them, why don't we get a WrestleMania preview at TakeOver New York and have Bayley and Sasha Banks defend the tag team titles against a NXT tag team? You have Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne mysteriously just becoming a tag team now. That's because they are going to be in the mix for tag team gold, or like tag team opportunities for the tag team titles. You have the Sky Pirates of Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. I would have, if you're going to do that Fatal 4-Way, I would have Io Shirai and Kairi Sane there. Now, if we're going to have a match for the NXT, for the women's tag team titles at TakeOver, which I would love to see, I would probably have them build up Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah to take that challenge. Only they won't win them. They won't win them because you're going to have Bayley and Sasha Banks at WrestleMania. So we would have back-to-back nights, but we would also, for the first time, I think ever, have 2 women's matches on a TakeOver. I think it's like fair time that they had a secondary feud, or like because the women's tag team titles are a thing, we have a chance to see 2 title matches, 2 matches for the women on a TakeOver. You have 5 matches every time. With the fact that I've heard that there's going to be a UK match at NXT TakeOver. If you want to have both women's titles, the UK and NXT Women's Championships at TakeOver Brooklyn, New York, that's fine. I have a feeling that NXT TakeOver New York is going to be half NXT UK, half NXT, and we're going to have a longer show. For the simple fact is, this is going to be something that they want to rival the G1 Supercard that is going to be the next night, and I don't think we're just going to have the normal 5 matches. And I think this is going to be a 3-hour show. I think this one's going to be a 3-hour show with 6 to 7 matches. We'll have to see for sure. What we see, the NXT Women's Tag Team, the Women's Tag Team Championships, or the NXT Women's UK Championship at TakeOver Brooklyn, that'd be nice, and I would be fine with that. We'll have to wait and see. We have NXT over here and NXT UK to worry about as we get closer to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. We have about 5 weeks left, and there's only about, I think, 4 episodes state for this set of NXT. If it's only 3, then that means they still have 3 episodes to do, and we'll just have to wait and see. But that's all for your NXT review. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The Franz. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFranz08. Another good episode of NXT. Cannot wait to see what we got to do next week, because the NXT the road to TakeOver New York is just starting to pick up steam, and with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic on the horizon next week as it starts, I can't wait to see who goes up against the War Raiders. But it's just scratching my head that the fact that DIY is taking on the Undisputed Era in their first match back as an official tag team. I don't get that one. I don't get that one at all. I would have had them go up against like maybe Marcel Barthel and Fabian Eichner, or one of the other teams that like have no chance of winning. I would like them going up against the Street Profits. If the Street Profits aren't going to win, them against Mustache Mountain. Could you imagine a DIY versus Mustache Mountain match? That would have been a great first round match, and Mustache Mountain, of course, could lose and go off to NXT UK where they should be. But that one's a head scratcher, big time head scratcher. But we'll see who wins the tournament. DIY, I don't see winning. I don't see them exiting first round. They could be in the finals, and then Tommaso Ciampa, being the dick that he is, screws Johnny Gargano over. We'll just have to wait and see. We have the tournament to start next week. I can't wait for that. But I'll see you guys later. My name is France. We'll see you guys this Saturday for episode 59 of Unscripted. We have so much to go over. AEW just came out with another Road to Double or Nothing, so we'll have to talk about the news that came off of that. But until then, my name is France, and I'm getting out of here.